Hi, everyone. I'm Timothy Mitchell with Mimaki. I am preparing for a very large event called the Mimaki Digital, because we print digital, Textile Microfactory. Now, the idea of a microfactory is that we want to show textile printing from file. So in this case, it could be as early as web to print, all the way through the color control, the calibration, the hardware, the rip, the paper or print directly to fabric, the hardware, then the calendared presses, and then we're going to go into the sewing and or cutting. And then finally, once you have this finished product, it has to go into a frame. You have to put it into an installation. You're ultimately going to give it in display. And there's all kinds of different displays. We have, as really, I guess, the caboose of our train, is we have some experts from the display industry, and I wanted to bring Brian Ebenger on from Xcel. Brian, welcome to my little conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to helping out everybody to expand into the fabric arena.
Okay, fantastic. Well, tell me a little bit about Xcel. Tell me a little bit about your company. You guys are obviously an American manufacturing company. I remember during the COVID period, nobody could get anything, and you guys were making things hand over fist because you could make everything right there you're in Minnesota, is that correct?
Correct. And so Excel's been around for 20 years. Most people actually know us on our first division, which is all flexible medias related to digital printing, static cling, magnetic receptive. That's where we really are known throughout the industry. Over the last 6-ish years or so, we saw the trend moving more towards the SEG framing or the fabric type of printing. So that's where we expanded into a second division that's all specific to SEG framing.
Okay. I have an adage. If it can go into an SEG frame, it will go into an SEG frame. So anything you look at that's being done now in some sort of board, if it could be done with an SEG, it will. And the reason I think it will is because fabric is easy to print. It looks great. It's environmentally friendly. It's easy to install. I mean, it's like putting in a fitted sheet, which I still struggle with a little bit. And then you can remove it and put another one in. So, and it's light. The fabric can fold up very nicely into a little FedEx box. So your shipping charges, your chances of damage are almost nothing. When I go through the rational checklist box, printing on fabric with an SEG frame and then shipping it off somewhere makes a lot of sense versus, hey, let's take a 8-foot by 10-foot bunch of boards and seam them in together and they get chipped. And I mean, just kind of obvious, right? So you guys are in the frame part of it, and I think that that's fantastic. And I know that it's a very critical piece of the puzzle. So tell me a little bit, what do you do in framing that's a little different than what everyone else does?
So first off, as you stated earlier, right, we are based in Minnesota. Okay, so that's where our production facility is. All of our profiles are domestically manufactured and built out of Minnesota. Okay, so that creates, a quicker lead time, right, coming from overseas as some of our competition ends up doing so. From that side, we know we've had a much stronger inventory and supply chain, right, especially over the last couple of years throughout COVID.
Sure.
So that's something that we did very, very well throughout COVID is because we kept the material coming in and we have our own production facility to go ahead and build the frames and ship them out accordingly. Something that really separates us from most companies out there is we have our own in-house engineering team. So that's not necessarily something that we outsource. So if someone's looking outside of the cookie cutter 24-inch by 36-inch piece, we can go ahead and not only build that, but we can create something a little bit more unique. So I think that's really where we differ is, that turnaround time from, something unique or special going from maybe 2 weeks, what we can do from maybe 3 or 4 months from our competition that's outsourcing and upcharging and have current costs and holdups and all that type of stuff.
Okay, so you specialize in customization and you specialize in being able to create custom work on much shorter time frames because you're all domestically manufactured and engineered.
Correct.
Okay, big advantages, I think. And then obviously you have people that have been doing this for a long time. Are you finding that the trade show industry is back? Like, like this, because I remember during the pandemic, the trade show industry just got hammered, right? And I thought, relax, it's coming back with a vengeance because, and with it, the display industry, which you're a big part of.
Correct. And so you're dead on with that. I mean, anyone that's been to one of the recent shows, there's more people attending. And on top of that, we're seeing a lot more fabric at the shows as well for trade show booths or signage or that type of stuff, right? So
Sure.
to me, we've seen, extreme growth on that side in the exhibit industry, but we've also seen something, a dramatic change. We initially got into it for the retail industry, the end caps in, all these, large, retail organizations, but then you're seeing it expand to airports and universities or schools and churches, and museums. So you're seeing a lot more people expand on that. And exactly to what you said, really the cost of doing business is, much, much more cost effective. But on top of that, it's much easier to work with and it looks very professional. So shipping big boards to museums, can get damaged, very expensive to do. God forbid you get something damaged and then you ship something out the next day. Now you're expediting a lot of stuff. So on that side, we're seeing the fabric industry really expand to different areas that have never been around before.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be at the big SEMA show coming up here in Las Vegas in November, and I'm going to make a note of just how much of it is all fabric based. I'm willing to bet it's just huge. And these are, this is every hall in effect here. So it's not just my industry that uses it, it's every other industry is also using fabric for all of their displays. And I think the display industry is going to continue to grow. And obviously, so there's another thing I saw. I have one of our partners who's going to be at this event is kind of a bit of an engineering legend. A fellow named Steen Mikkelsen has developed, every few years he has a new thing. And this is called Fast Zone. And what they've done is they've kind of created a laser cutter and automated pattern sewer so that you can sew these displays in all kinds of new shapes. You're not limited to squares and rectangles anymore. You can start making cool shapes. And I thought, wow, that's going to partner well with somebody like Xcel, where you start making all kinds of cool shapes that you want that are now also installed with SEG frames. I just kind of thought of the nice synergy between those two partners that we have coming to our event. And that's why I want this event is I want people to come and see what are all the steps and what's coming up down the horizon. What type of displays are we going to see? And you're very focused on custom.
Mhm. And from that side, completely agree. This is exciting, right? Because we've really just, touched the tip of really what we can do, right? Like you said, squares and rectangles have always just historically, that's what we've gotten into. However, as people try to get more creative out there, that's where you start getting into some of the different shapes. And from our side, right, that's what we do and that's what we do well. And that really goes back to our engineering team because they can help design those types of things. And really, at the end of the day, we're the last piece of the puzzle. So we need to make sure ours works. Otherwise, you have to reprint, recalibrate. So again, all the other steps that you've done before, it needs to make sure that we fit properly into that. So we need to be dead on with exactly what we say we're going to produce.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look, I don't want to steal all your thunder from the show. And ultimately, I want people to come to this event in Los Angeles on October 30th to talk to you guys, understand what the display market offers, what customization can offer, times, turnarounds, costs, types of materials, fabrication, all the things that I think you guys do so well. And I just wanted to close by emphasizing that the dye sublimation process, printing to digital textile is a process. It's a workflow. We at Mimaki are simply the printer component of that workflow. We're only like one step of 8 or 9, So if all these other steps aren't lined up and you're missing one piece, like you were just saying, if you print this beautiful fabric and you've gone through all the color calibration and all the color control, and it's exactly the right color and it's exactly the right density, and you used a Barbieri to do it, and you printed on the Mimaki printer to make it, and you had it all cut out and sewn professionally, and then it doesn't fit. Like it doesn't fit in the frame and you can't fake it, right? You're trying to pull it and I'm like, no, it's not going to fit. You drastically miscalculated. You missed one of the key steps. And I think that's what we want people to come to this event to understand is you have to grasp the workflow in order to be successful at it. However, people in the workflow know things and they can help you ensure that you don't get the wrong fit. And I think that's where your expertise and why I wanted you guys on board is you do a very good job of ensuring that the customer's not going to get it fit wrong.
No, it's this microfactory, it's a great concept. It's a great idea. And agreed, when people go out and they buy a piece of equipment, they don't necessarily understand all the steps and processes along and how one impacts another. So completely on board with this event. And to me, it's going to be exciting and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And we have a new facility that we're building out here in Atlanta North and Flowery Branch area, and we're set to have more of these types of events because I think more than anything, what I want to do is show people that Mimaki's a big piece of it, but we have partners. And to be successful in this industry, it really is about partnership. You're always printing to media. You're always using color control. You're always using certain instrumentation, and then you have the whole finishing process as well. And all that has to work properly in order to be successful. More than any other thing is I want my customers to be successful. It makes me very happy when they're successful and they go, we did this like you recommended, and all of these people came together and we're getting great results and everyone loves our work. And I'm like, good, that's exactly what I wanted. It's that knowledge of the workflow that I think I want to communicate. And so that's why thank you so much for coming. Looking forward to seeing you there. It'll be a really good time. We'll have a very good lunch. I've asked them to bring some good wine to finish it out. And always a pleasure talking with you, Brian.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.